welcome back to the Sligo GAA Coaching and Games social channels. Be sure and follow us to stay up to date with all things Sligo GAA. Today we're delighted to be joined by Frances Hanley, hurling delegate to Connacht Council, as well as Piro for the Celtic Challenge Under 17 hurling squad, among other things, I'm sure, Frances. So to continue our Leading Ladies in Sligo GAA series, welcome Frances, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Lana. I'm honoured to be asked to join you.
So I touched on it a bit there, but what's your role within the GAA?
Well, my present role is that I don't have any administrative role in the St. Farnan's Club. I've had administrative roles over the past 25 years. So I'm actually taking a break from the administration point of view, but I haven't left the club. I'm going to be involved with the under 14 football team, or the under 15 I should say, and I'm also heavily involved with East St. Farnan's hurling club, so that's my role at the present time.
Good stuff. And you say there you done the administration for a good while. How did you come to get involved in the GAA setup? Was it via that kind of route or different?
No, I cannot remember a time of not been involved in the GAA. I'm the eldest of 9 children, and I had 6 brothers. So we were lucky enough to live across the road from the football field. So I spent all my youth playing football with my brothers. Unfortunately, there was no ladies football for me at that time, so I'm showing my age now. My mother was a huge influence in our lives. She was a fanatical Dub supporter, and we were reared on Dublin football. So she instilled in us a great respect for club and for county. And even though I'm from County Louth, and we grew up being very involved with our local club, and then that sort of ethos stayed with me all through my life, even when I moved to Donegal. And it wasn't just the football or the hurling, it was also the other aspects of the GAA, in particular with the Irish language, with score, and with all those various aspects. So I have spent all my life been involved in either hurling, football, score, the language side, the publicity side of football and hurling, and so on. So that's really how I came to be involved in the GAA. It's been part of my life, and it's been a huge part of my life. It's, I suppose, when I came to Sligo in the first instance, when I came to Templeboy, I've not been a native, and even though my husband was from a different parish, so not knowing anybody, the GAA brought me into the community, and I think that's a huge asset that the GAA has for everybody. You know, it gives you a sense of belonging.
Yeah, the sense of community you get off joining the GAA is certainly unmatched.
Yes,
so
it is. Yeah.
Why would you say you do what you do? Would you say it's to give back, or kind of just get involved, as you say, or what would it be for yourself?
Why do I do what I do? Because I love it. I just love the buzz around football, hurling. I just love everything about the GAA. You know, I just love being part of an organisation, and just the people that you meet, the friendships that you make, and in particular, because I'm a teacher, working with children, it makes it all worthwhile, really. And it's to give something back, I suppose. But having said that, I get as much as I give. You know, that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, and you were saying there that you've had multiple kind of roles within the GAA. In terms of encouraging more women into these positions, what do you think contributes to the disparity between men and women, let's say in the GAA administration and coaching kind of side? And what would you say is the best way to continue changing that?
Well, I think it's a societal thing rather than just necessarily a GAA thing. But I think things are improving. In my experience, women play a pivotal role in the GAA. I mean, I've been lucky enough to have been chairperson of a club in Sligo. I mean, you can't go any higher than that in terms of having an administrative role in your club. But I mean, I have also been very lucky to be surrounded by women in our own club in particular. If I even think of Mary Gordon and Mary Cagannon, they did Trojan work, and they were a huge support. And I think even now when I'm involved with Easki, I have Christine, Isha and Joanne with me. The women are really dedicated workers. They see things that maybe perhaps men don't see. I think, the GAA itself has a long way to go to recognise the role of women. But I mean, if you look around the county, and I'm sure you would know this yourself, even in the men's organisation, the amount of women on the sidelines is growing, and the amount of involvement of women is growing. And I think it's much to the benefit of the clubs. And I think even in county now, there are a number of women on committees. So I think that's all to the good, because women have huge amounts to offer. And sometimes men think that we know nothing about football, or we know very little about hurling, because perhaps we haven't ever played it, or so on. But I mean, I have been to so many games now. I can tell as much. Well, I think I can tell as much about a game as any other. But men, some men will rarely ask your opinion, and I think that needs to change.
Yeah, how wrong that kind of rhetoric is. I mean, everyone, anyone that attends a game would know as much as each other. Like it doesn't depend on your gender, I suppose. So you talked there about the betterment of the organisation. What do you think that would look like going into the future?
If the betterment, well, personally, I don't have a whole lot of dealings with the ladies' side of things, but I think in terms of the future, I think it would be of benefit for both ladies and men's club to be the one. I think there would be a much better force. I think it's increasingly difficult for clubs to fundraise. You have the ladies' club trying to fundraise and the men's club to try and fundraise. I think it would be mutually beneficial if both were to be under the one umbrella. I think they would have much more clout, and they would have much more influence. And in general, a parent has maybe a boy and a girl, or two boys and two girls, or whatever. It's the same people that you're dealing with. And in general, the people who are involved in the ladies are also involved in the men's, and there's a huge crossover there. And I think it would be mutually beneficial if both were to join up at some point.
Yeah, definitely. And you touched on it there earlier, but the community aspect about the GAA, is that what makes Gaelic games stand out from the crowd for you, or would it be something else that you say makes it so special?
Well, I think what makes it special, I suppose, it's, I like all things Irish. And I mean, you won't get any more Irish than a game of hurling or a game of Gaelic football. And it's intrinsically linked with our nationalism, with our culture, with our music, with everything. So it's such a huge part of our lives. I know not everybody will agree with that, but I think, the GAA has so much to offer. I would be afraid that we would lose a bit of that, in the future going ahead, because to all intents and purposes we've gone very professional, and the emphasis has shifted somewhat from club to county, which I wouldn't necessarily agree with. I think that you have to have a very good club structure. And if you have a very good club structure, that in turn will enhance your county structure. And I think we need to work from the bottom up. And I think in general, if we look at Dublin and their success, they worked from the bottom up, from underage, and got their structures in place. And they're now reaping the benefits. Now, I know we have huge finance behind them, but I think we have to all do the same. And I suppose from a hurling point of view, which I would be kind of promoting very much so, we need to sort of give hurling its credence in the county. We're enjoying the success of the county team, so we need to build on that, and we need to help in any way possible the structures, and in particular we need to get a couple more GPOs to give Dara Cox a bit of help, because he's doing absolutely a Trojan work and immense work on his own. And I mean, we need to get at least one other GPO, if not more.
Yeah, no doubt. Dara Cox does immense work for Sligo GAA and Sligo hurling, and it is came across, I suppose, in the recent successes of Sligo hurling, both on and off the pitch. But thanks for joining us today, Frances.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah, thanks for asking me.